1 year ago, Uganda passed a bill that would criminalize people who identify as LGBTQ.
Uganda's parliament has passed a bill which would criminalise people who identify as LGBTQ, with those found guilty facing up to 10 years in prison. Under the proposed legislation, friends, family and members of the community would have a duty to report individuals in same-sex relationships to the authorities.
I just want one homosexual, brilliant enough, in Britain or America or the whole world to come and face me. We face off each other, and he tells me when he started realizing that he was actually gay.
One of the main drivers of anti-homosexual propaganda in Africa is a church. In Uganda, Pastor Solomon Mail is one of the most vocal and outspoken anti-gay preachers. But you will find out more about his person as it concerns Pastor Robert Kayanja in this conversation.
Because they are lying.
I believe that I was born gay.
Are you a gay?
Why are you gay?
Have you ever had any woman?
No.
How many men have you had?
How many men? Oh, I couldn't count.
Many?
Oh, yeah.
You've had many? More than 10?
Yeah.
More than 20?
Yeah.
50?
Yeah.
So you don't love?
I do love.
So it's ganging?
I do love.
It's reckless?
It's not like I've been philandering myself everywhere and carousing.
One comes, another comes,
no,
another
it's not
comes.
Like that.
It's reckless.
It's not like that. Straight relationships work out, gay relationships work out, or they don't.
You put it into your heart, into your mind that I think, and now you believe it. You've got to say that to deceive other people because you want so many people to come to your ranks.
I don't want anyone to come to my ranks. I'm not recruiting people. It's just the way I am.
Look, don't fool the world.
I'm not fooling
the world. And don't fool Ugandans.
Don't fool Ugandans, the anti-gay preacher told the BBC reporter Scott Mills. In today's conversation, we are taking an interesting turn involving two important preachers in the country of Uganda. One is Pastor Seyonga and the other is Pastor Kayanja. Those who watch me from West Africa, but just imagine that. Why is it always you?
But why is our man of God the one always with a scandal like this?
Exactly. Exactly. Always.
Daniel might not know so much, but those who have been here since church started know that this is not the first time we are hearing rumors like this about him.
So that generation, maybe it's 1995. 1995. A set of boys come out and say, we were abused by this person. And then that goes. They scatter. Others go to America. Others disappear. Others are imprisoned. Others are dead. 95. 7 years later, or 10 years later, 2005, 4 other people come. I went there. Do you know the so and so that just came out 10 years ago to say that? No, I don't know them. This happened to me. This has happened to me. This is a picture. This is what? This is what? And the same thing happens. People don't know each other. They're not collaborating. But they're saying the same thing against the same man for so many years. And what happened? Same thing happens. They are dealt with the same way these others were dealt with. Others are paid money to change their stories. And they find any person who would be passionate to take these issues, maybe, or to encourage these people to go and fight for their rights. If you are the one person doing that, you take an interest to hear them, to pray for them. They say, what we want you to do is that you come up and say, actually this pastor never sodomized me, But the other person who was trying to help me gave me money to say that pastor sodomized me. So, what do they do? Why do they do that? They are trying to cut that man off. Who can help anybody to go somewhere and help? They don't want anyone to help these people.
How come in a country that have recently, in the past year, been under serious Western persecution, I would say, because of their president's stance against the LGBTQ?
The Western countries should stop wasting the time of humanity by trying to impose their practices on other peoples.
Someone that is known to be one of the fathers in the country is being alleged to be involved in homosexual activity. I might lose my channel because of the words I'm using strongly, but I guess you all have to hear this conversation. Now let's get back to the beginning. Who is Pastor Robert Kayanja? To give a connection, of course, to his person and the western part of Africa, the father of Pentecostalism, Archbishop Benson Idahosa, used to be a close ally to him. In fact, Pastor Robert Kayanja has talked about many times how he's been imparted and how he preached alongside with the person of Archbishop Benson Idahosa. Just to give you a proof,
I pray you will be delivered from sluggishness from what I'm saying. I didn't know God can do it. 28 years ago, we started a small Bible school. Our Bible school used to last for 2 weeks. Only 2 subjects. Heal the sick, cast out devil. Heal the sick, cast out devil. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Next week, heal the sick, cast out devil. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On Friday, you graduate. Go! Go! Heal the sick. Go! Raise the dead. Go! Cast out devil. In Jesus' name, you are graduated. Finish. When the members began to increase, we turned it to 3 weeks, to 1 month, to 3 months, to 6 months, to 1 year. Now, it's a degree school. University. And now, we have started our own university. But how did we start? 2 weeks. As God provided ability, we buried our inability. We now have our own hospital. We have 74 schools with nearly 40,000 students. The largest private school in the world. It's our school. How? I thought of it. How? I asked of it. How? God did it.
indeed, when he's been said to be the father of African Pentecostalism, to a great extent his influence goes a lot. Now let's look at the bone of contention. Do you remember the picture I just showed you now talking with Scott Mills? Oh yes.
Why are you gay?
10 years ago, between 2009 and 2010, he was in a court proceeding that involved the same Robert Kayanja, who is alleged to be involved in sodomy and naturalization of boys.
In this beautifully decorated little room sits Pastor Solomon Mali, a vocal pastor in Uganda with Arising for Christ Ministries.
Yes, come.
It is not at his church that he sits, it is at a hospital, Mulago National Referral. This change in offices came his way earlier in October this year at the Uganda Road Court when Chief Magistrate Julius Bulule convicted him and 3 other pastors, Michael Chaze, Robert Kayanja and Martin Semper, including a businesswoman Dorothy Chomohendo and one David Mukalazi. They were convicted of defaming Pastor Robert Kayanja of Rubaga Miracle Center after they accused him of sexually molesting 2 boys in 2009.
The person would have assisted you.
Now, for 8 hours each weekday, he will serve his sentence of 100 hours of community work after paying a fine of 1 million shillings.
I'm always a community worker. At my office, I do counseling and guidance. I receive people. I meet people. In the field, I go. I'm always with the voiceless.
He has no option but to love it. The other option was 6 months in jail.
But one thing is very, very clear. I am not a criminal.
While he serves his sentence, Male is also reflecting on how to handle his anti-homosexuality campaign.
Probably these gays need to be known that they exist. And they need to be known that that is so and so's partner, that is so and so's partner. Because if that is not done, then they keep preying on the voiceless, preying on the weak. They marry for formality, just to cover up.
As to how true this is, we can't tell, but at least someone that is involved in the mix of this conversation is yet another pastor in the country of Uganda, Pastor Jackson Seyonga. Let's listen to what he had to say with respect to this.
Now you hear people go to court. They are going to court. In a case that I'm not even involved. This is involving Robert Kayanja. Pastor Robert Kayanja. He took boys to court. Whoever represented him took these boys to court. And is accusing them for four things. One is trespass. Another, I think, is conspiracy to commit a felony. And those things. When, from what I heard, these things when they first started, the boys have a different version. And this is in the news. I'm sorry, in the courts. I'm not gonna discuss this. I'm not gonna discuss this that much. But the boys have a version. So we never said anything, and we never said a lie to anyone. Everything we said happened to us. But the thing is, between themselves, others, I believe, as far as I'm concerned, for my side, in the part that involves me, they were given money to say something that's not true. Because they were together with everyone else. And how they changed the story to implicate me, and they mention me in their proceedings. It amazes me and many others. So what's happening here? You have a team saying, no, we were abused. No, we are A, B, and C. You have that group. We have another group which is supposed to be part of the group. For them saying, no, we were promised money to say that Pastor Kayanja sodomized us, but he never did. These boys were just trying to make us make money, and they told us to go and fabricate something so we can get money from Pastor Seyonga. I think what has been tried out is to make the public think that Pastor Seyonga has an issue with Pastor Kayanja. And that I can do anything to defame him, which is not true, and it never has been true. Also, they want people to believe that there are some fabrications of message tapes there that defame Pastor Kayanja,
that
I'm part of.
Never.
I can never fabricate a tape. I have never bought anyone to do those kind of tapes. Not at all. All I saw was a tape, which now I think they're trying to say it was fake. All I saw was a text message from one person to another, talking about sexual issues. That's what I saw. And what I saw and heard were boys that came to me and told me a lot of things that happened to them, done to them by Pastor Kayanja. That I can say yes. But when I read that, I saw that, I heard that, I kept quiet, but I wrote to him and I said, Pastor Kayanja, we need to talk, maybe with 3 people, to discuss this. These boys are coming up. Can you throw a light on this? Can we meet and discuss? And then I even offered that 3 people would meet together. And I can even mention the name of the people that I shared this with. I can share the copy of the letter that I sent to him, and he received it, because I know that to be true. Those things I did, but he refused to meet. He refused to answer the letter. And if somebody has leveled something so bad, and a fellow leader is asking you to meet, and you don't call, you don't meet, the next thing I saw was Pastor Kayanja going to police to try to get me arrested. Is that a good response? I'm asking for a meeting, and you are sending people with handcuffs? Why? I say, let's meet. And in the letter I said, we don't believe these boys are right, but we want to see how we can defend you if these things keep coming. So I sent a copy to this pastor, to the other bishop, and to this other person. And we all met. Even when the day came for him to show up, he didn't show up. He decided he will not show up. And then, in keeping quiet, he was networking for me to get arrested. And before that, I saw big bloggers on a campaign to trash my name, being bought and paid. I know one blogger who was given money to go by the boys that had gone rogue. I don't know who gave him money, but he was given money to buy the boys who had gone rogue, to give them money so that they can change the story to say it is Pastor Seyonga who gave them money to say bad things about Kayanja. I saw a letter written to IGG about someone who was reporting people in Rubaga for having offered money to them to go buy the people that were sodomized. I saw that letter. And this is an individual person who was claiming or finding a case. I say, kino kisusse. This is too much. Ekyokutandika okugamba abasumba nti bagula abantu kino kisusse nze nange bampako ssente wano. I've also ever been given money here. And on that letter mu bbaluwa eyo he printed out the monies, the transactions. Mobile money transactions. Mobile money transactions. Mobile money transactions. Mobile money that was sent to him to give the boys. And some of the messages that were sent to him to do that. And one of those men who was the player who was given money to channel it. He's a big blogger. He's a big blogger who has been the chief mouthpiece to trust Pastor Seyonga. Oyo yabadde akulira ekikwekweto ekyokubanga asuula omusumba Seyonga ng'ayita mu bigambo n'olugambo ku blog z'akola. And I know him. Era mumanyi. Not personally. But I've seen his messages. Naye obubaka bwe mbulabyeko. People have been sending me the messages. Abantu bazze nga bansindikira obubaka obwo. So we can see clearly. Katusobola okulaba mu ngeri y'akaati. Sent 2 million shillings. Tiwano yasindika obukadde 2. He negotiated. Ne bateesa. Go tell them. Gendo bagambe. Go do this. Gendo okole bw'oti. And of course don't mention Mosei. Toyogera linnya lya Mosei. Things like that. Ebintu bwe bityo. The messages right there. If you want me to tell you the name, I can. But his last name, his family name beginning with a B. He's a blogger.
Having listened to this, you will see the involvement of Pastor Jackson Seyonga is being talked about in this case. Now, is he an active party in the conversation? Not at all, from my observation. But why is he being roped into this? I see a pattern. Now, let's go back to 2009/2010 court case that involved Pastor Solomon Marley. What pattern am I seeing here? For the case itself to be trashed out, there was someone who said in the court proceeding that he was given money, so he could lay false allegations against the pastor himself. Here is the clip of that.
The magistrate told a fully packed court that there was overwhelming evidence to find the accused guilty, evidence that was not refuted by the defense team. The court relied mainly on the testimony of Robinson Matovu, who testified how he had been promised 50 million shillings to testify against Pastor Kayanja.
The evidence that has been brought against us and me is just faked up.
You know, when rumors like this are going on over time, whereby it's not just once, it's not just twice, and like you will hear Pastor Seyonga himself even talk about it, it happened even in the 90s. Why is it that it's even coming up again right now in 2024? Just a coincidence? Like we watch in the movie Prophet Suddenly. Why always you? And it's about the same thing. That raises questions. Listen to this, my dear friends, as we talk about this. I want you to be very objective, of course, in your reasoning, because patterns never change. Why am I saying this? When I looked at this particular case from a distance, if Pastor Jackson Seyonga was not involved in the conversation, and like you hear him talk about the boys themselves who claimed that they were victims of molestation, came to him with evidences and told him about the situation, what was the first move he made? As someone that is a senior minister, knowing another senior minister decided to write to that particular minister, telling him about the situation and asking for there to be a meeting to discuss about this. That's what mature people do, I guess. But instead, even he couldn't respond. This is what Pastor Robert Kayanja himself said.
So the lies, I wrote to him a letter, I called him. He didn't answer me. I answer you. Are you Secretary General of United Nations? I answer you for what?
Does it begin to make sense? But instead, what does he see this to be? You know, when you are being allegedly exposed, or you know that people that are also in the same realm and cadre of what you are doing, I mean being pastors like you, know some things about you that they shouldn't know in this particular case, then a conspiracy has to be built to actually save your face. And that is why, even though Pastor Jackson Seyonga is not being involved directly in this case because he did nothing, only tried to write to him and then made a copy of that as well to other people in the context, so it becomes clear that this is what he tried to do on hearing this about a minister in the gospel or someone supposedly being in the same forefront of ministry like him. But it now turns out to be that the person himself is now accusing him for conspiring with boys who came to him on their own to then talk to him about their experiences. Does it begin to make sense right now?
The prosecution is led by one man. They have 4 lawyers. Now you calculate who is paying for the lawyers. The issue is, it's very, very important for you to know that and keep yourself out of breaking the law. Especially young people. Please, don't be used. Because those who are using you, they don't use their children. They use you. And this is true. Like Pastor Seyonga's son. He used to come here to see my son on several occasions.
How comes we didn't sodomize him?
He came here several occasions. So please don't be used. Don't be used.
So if the court proceedings has clearly stated, which I'm going to go further to discussing about, that the boys themselves have denied there being any form of conspiracy, why is he being dragged into this? Because it has to be like the other pattern whereby someone claims that they were being offered money by the pastor himself to frame up Pastor Robert Kayanja. I see a pattern right here. Now you might be saying, oh George, why are you taking a brief for someone you don't even know? I've sat down and watched a ton of video here on the platform to be able to come to one conclusion: patterns don't lie. If you watch me here over time as well, discussing, let's say, Apostle Twetwe and some other conversations we've had here over time, you get to know one thing: the patterns never change. If it is always you, then there's something really going on. In every rumor, to some extent, there's an element of truth in there. Probably the movie Prophet Suddenly we talked about is indeed a reality in many African churches, I would say. But again, why always you, Pastor Robert Kayanja? I'm watching closely, but till I see you next, tell me what you think about this particular conversation. I'm watching.